Hello, wonderful learners. Welcome to an exciting literature lesson here on this channel. If you're new to this channel, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a lesson. Today, we are going to study an inspiring short story titled Kissiwaa, the Heroine, and the Beacon of Light. In this lesson, we'll cover the title, setting, type of story, narrative technique, summary, characters, literary devices, themes, and some likely examination questions. Let's begin with the title. The story is titled Kissiwaa, the Heroine. The word heroine means a female hero, someone brave and admired for her courage and strength. So, just from the title, we know we are about to talk about a young girl called Kissiwaa who does something really brave. Setting. Clearly, the story is set in a rural village called Asempaitia. Asempaitia is a close-knit village, likely in Ghana, with strong social bonds and traditions. The time is contemporary or recent past. This story is a narrative short story which is fictional but written to reflect real-life lessons and societal values. Narrative technique. The story is written in the third-person omniscient narrative. Here, we realize that the narrator is not a character in the story, but has access to multiple characters' thoughts and feelings. Summary. In the town of Asempaitia, the community gathers under the sacred Nyamidra tree for the final match of their annual drought tournament, which is a prestigious event where a winner earns great respect and rewards. The final game is between Kissiwaa, a 17-year-old girl, and Bediako, a confident man who has won the tournament 5 times in a row. This happens to be a special moment because no woman has ever reached the final before. Many doubt Kissiwaa, but she remains focused and determined. Among the crowd is Old Soldier, a respected retired military man who supports Kissiwaa and encourages respectful play without insults. Kissiwaa bravely asks the crowd and her opponent to keep the game clean and respectful. Though some laughed at her, she stays calm and focused. The match begins. Bediako starts strong, but Kissiwaa studies the board carefully and uses smart strategies to win the first game. The crowd is surprised and excitement builds. She goes on to win the second game as well, showing great skill and calmness. Everyone starts to see that she might actually win the whole tournament. As the final game starts, tension rises. Bediako becomes angry and insults Kissiwaa, and the argument spreads to the crowd. Bediako's young son, Abibio, shouted a mean insult at a boy supporting Kissiwaa. The crowd gasps in shock. Old Soldier is disappointed and reminds everyone that games should be played with honor and respect. In the final round, Kissiwaa wins. Her victory earns her admiration from the entire village. Even Bediako, who was previously arrogant, is humbled and shaken by his loss. In the end, the story celebrates female empowerment, dignity in competition, and the idea that true strength lies in the mind, not just in tradition or physical dominance. The first character I would like to address is Kissiwaa. Kissiwaa happens to be the protagonist and heroine. She is a determined and confident young woman who challenges Bediako and wins the first 2 matches in the drought tournament. She promotes respectful play and represents a new wave of female empowerment. Next is Bediako. Bediako is a proud, experienced, and overconfident man who is the 5-time reigning champion. His character serves as a foil to Kissiwaa, but is later humbled by his skill. The next character is Old Soldier. Old Soldier is a retired military man who values discipline and respect. He supports Kissiwaa and hopes her victory inspires the community, most especially the young girls. He is a symbolic of wisdom and integrity, offering guidance and critique to the community. Next, we have Abebio. Abebio is Bediako's son. Abebio is a disrespectful boy who insults a fellow spectator, reflecting the harmful effects of poor role models. He is influenced by his environment. The crowd also play a crucial role in the story. Their reactions mirror the shifts in tension, excitement, and conflict. They play a significant role in shaping the tone of the tournament. Now, let's look at some literary devices in the story. First, we'll look out for imagery. And I quote, "Children danced in the streets, laughing and spinning. Animals joined in, making loud noises." Next, the crowd was silent, waiting. The game was about to start. Under the beautiful Nyamija tree in Asempaitia's town square, the community gathered excitedly. Both of these quotes depict visual and auditory imagery, giving us a mental picture of the description. The next is symbolism. In symbolism, we realize that the Nyamija tree represents safety, wisdom, and spiritual growth. The draft board represents skill and intellectual equality. The chief's palace symbolizes authority, tradition, and community. We also have foreshadowing as a literary device in the story. Foreshadowing in literature is a literary device that gives hints or clues about what will happen later in the story. I quote, "Old Soldier's mind was on a worrying matter. Since returning home, he had seen people joking and teasing each other during matches. Although they meant no harm, the insults bothered him." This quote foreshadows the conflict that arises later in the story, highlighting Old Soldier's concern about community's behavior. Again, we have Old Soldier watched closely, proud of Kissiwaa's skill. This particular quote gives a hint at her eventual success and sets the stage for her role as a heroine. We also have repetition. Repetition in literature is a literary device where words, phrases, or ideas are repeated to create emphasis, reinforce meaning, or produce an emotional effect. So here in the story, we see repetition. Kissiwaa, Kissiwaa, she is the best. Here, the author repeats name for emphasis. Again, we see Bediako, Bediako, still the best. Repeat name to emphasize crowd support and raise the intensity of the competition. Also, Asempaitia's pride in every way. Asempaitia's champion. Here, the community's name is being repeated to show unity. Kissiwaa, Kissiwaa, the champion rises. Here, the author repeats Kissiwaa to show or to lay emphasis. Allusion. Allusion in literature is a brief and indirect reference to a person, place, event, history, work of art, religion, or another piece of literature. And in the story, we realize that Nyamija tree is being used. It gives reference to a name of a Ghanaian tree. We have like politicians on TV. Here it's referencing familiar cultural phenomena of arguing politicians. Rhetorical question. In literature, a rhetorical question is a question asked for effect or to make a point rather than to get an actual answer. So we have a rhetorical question in the story, and I quote, would Kissiwaa keep winning, or would Bediakon stop here? So realize that here we don't really need an actual answer, but the question is asked for effect or to make a point. Also, we have simile in the story. Simile is a figure of speech in literature that compares two different things using the words like, as though, resemble, and others. So here in the story, we have simile like her marbles lined up like elite soldiers. Here it's comparing her marbles to that of elite soldiers. Each captured marble sounded like a drum beat. We are comparing the sound of the marble to that of a drum beat. Kissiwaa's hand was ready, fingers spread like a hawk about to seize. So here we are comparing her hand to that of a hawk. Lastly, we have the game was like a careful dance, each player making smart moves. Here we are comparing the game to that of dance. Personification. Personification is a literary device where human qualities are given to non-human things such as animals, objects, or probably ideas. We have some examples in the story, and I quote, its limbs stretching up the sky. So we are giving human attributes to Nyamidria tree. The village waited anxiously. Here, I realize that it gives the village a human attribute. As the game progressed, the air felt electric. Here, we are giving human attributes to that of the air. There is also a dialogue in the story. Dialogue is a conversation between two or more characters in the literary device. And then in the story, we realize that Kissiwaa and Diabo had a dialogue. You are not. Can't you accept you are not the best anymore? So this reveals character conflicts and growing tension between Kissiwaa and Diabo. Also, we have irony. Irony is also a literary device where the intended meaning is different from the literal meaning, often the opposite. So we have in the story a 17-year-old girl beats a seasoned male champion. This challenges gender norms and expectations in a patriarchal community. Now let's deduce some themes from the story. Themes are basically the central idea in a story. And we have gender equality and empowerment. So Kissiwaa's participation and success challenge societal norms and also inspires other girls. So it's a form of gender equality and empowerment. We have tradition versus change. Kissiwaa and Old Soldier both advocate for respectful competition, moving away from traditional jesting and harmful insults in the game. The Nyamidria tree symbolizes continuity, while the story embraces change at the latter part. So there is tradition versus change. Also, we have pride and humility. Bediakon's arrogance is challenged by Kissiwaa's skill, and then it helps promote humility. Eventually, realize that Bediakon became humble. So pride and humility. Another theme we would want to look out for is youth as change agents. Kissiwaa is only 17 years old, but she becomes a role model to the people, particularly the young girls in the community. Also, we have community and unity. So despite moments of division, the game brings the town together and highlights collective values and identity. There is also the influence of role models. So the story shows how adults' behavior affects children. For example, we have Abebio imitating insults. This clearly shows the need for positive examples. On your free time, I would like you to try these questions, and then you can put the answers in the comment section. If you have any question as well, you can ask and I'll be available to answer you. The first question is, what was at stake for the winner of the drought tournament? Who is Old Soldier and what is his role in the story? Third, why was Kissiwaa's participation in the tournament considered unusual? Number 4, how does the Nyamidra tree function symbolically in the story? 5, in what ways does the crowd influence the players' emotions and the outcomes of the match? 6, discuss the role of gender in the story. How is Kissiwaa's journey significant in this context? We have the next question, which is number 7. What lesson does Old Soldier try to teach the community? 8. Do you think the story supports the idea that young people can bring positive change to traditions? Why or why not? Was Bediakon a good sportsman? Support your answer with examples from the story. And lastly, in what ways does Kissiwaa, the heroine, highlight the importance of mentorship? You can put your answer in the comment section. A quick recap. So we talked about the title, the setting, type of story, narrative technique, summary, characters, literary devices, some themes, and some examinable questions. Thank you so much for being with us. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and stay glued to our channel. See you in our next video. Bye.